Blessed clergy, honorary consul, esteemed leaders, compatriots. We gather tonight in solemn prayer for Armenia's 210 martyred soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice to safeguard the international borders of sovereign Armenia against Azerbaijan's September 13th invasion. 7,000 Armenian refugees have been displaced from border villages, and Azerbaijan is currently fortifying its positions inside sovereign Armenia, ready to launch its next attack. We are facing a 21st century humanitarian disaster, an imminent genocide. Genocide scholars, the Lemkin Institute, Human Rights Watch, the Foreign Minister of Artsakh are all raising the alarm for Artsakh and Armenia. You will hear firsthand tonight from Father Sasoon Zumrookhdian, newly returned from his mission to Armenia, to comfort the families of fallen soldiers, to deliver generous assistance, as well as our esteemed community leaders. The 44-day Azeri-Turkish war on Artsakh sabotaged the inalienable international right to self-determination and will of the indigenous Armenians of Artsakh. OSCE Minsk negotiations were undermined by Azerbaijan and Turkey's 21st century war. A new horrific paradigm of warfare was a testing site for Turkey's Bayraktar drones and testing international prohibitions against ISIS jihadi mercenaries, cluster munitions, and chemical warfare. The world's indifference emboldened the Azeri-Turkish appetite for coercion, aggression, bent on forcing the Armenian government to relinquish more Armenian land in exchange for so-called peace. With such appeasement sparking further unprovoked invasion and war crimes and setting a dangerous example for other dictators around the world to invade countries, disrupting the entire world order. Azerbaijan continues to commit atrocious war crimes and wages psychological warfare on Armenians with torture, beheading, and mutilation of Armenian POWs and civilians posted on social media platforms, disseminated worldwide, terrorizing not only the victims, their families, and traumatizing every Armenian in the world who witnesses such crimes against humanity and feels victimized over and over and over again. Azeri militia spread worldwide anti-Armenian hate and proudly celebrate their war crimes while being rewarded by Azeri-Turkish leaders. They wish to crush the Armenian spirit. The recent brutal execution of 7 Armenian POWs was disseminated on Azeri social media. Many Armenians saw it. I watched it and was horrified, traumatized like the rest of my compatriots. And this brutal execution was reported by Human Rights Watch. Too little, too late. We can never unsee the heinous and tragic dismemberment, mutilation, torture, eye gouged out of Amish, a female officer defending her homeland. An Armenian sister, like me, a mother of 3, which shocks the human conscience. 350 cases have been filed on behalf of POWs and their families for these atrocious war crimes which terrorize not only Armenians, but human beings with a conscience anywhere in the world. Where is the international outrage? Where is the condemnation? But this is nothing new. A century-long Azeri-Turkish campaign to eliminate indigenous Armenians from our land is being carried out by design. Aliyev and Erdogan promote vitriolic anti-Armenian hate and incite violence, dehumanize through national media and social media platforms, creating a culture to dehumanize and degrade Armenians. Their promise to finish the genocidal mission of their forefathers is bold propaganda, paving the way for another 1915. After over a century, our nation and diaspora have to muster the Herculean strength, the collective will, and courage to rise to this existential challenge once again. Artsakh, in a sea surrounded by Azeri-Turkish aggression, stands alone, a small island of democracy. It represents the heroism and the resilience of the Armenian spirit. This is the very spirit that Azerbaijan is trying to destroy through cultural destruction and erasure of Artsakh's ancient Armenian monasteries and cathedrals now occupied by Azerbaijan. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's symbolic visit to Armenia, condemnation of Azerbaijan's aggression by Secretary of State Blinken, provide a glimmer of hope to our embattled nation. A monumental humanitarian crisis requires an equal response by the United States government. As our leaders here today have staunchly supported us, each and every one of you who are present here today, our leaders, have stood by our community. The U.S. must stop sending military aid to Azerbaijan and instead sanction Azerbaijan for heinous war crimes and atrocities and rein in its colluder, Turkey. Just as we aid Ukraine, we must support democratic Armenia with humanitarian and, yes, military assistance to be able to defend against the terror of these dictators. While Azerbaijan and Turkey trade oil and gas deals for more profit, buying Europe's silence in exchange for Armenian blood and land, they degrade the international humanitarian laws and set a terrifying new world order. Ukraine has the right and ability to defend its sovereignty, supported with billions of dollars in humanitarian and latest military armaments from the US and NATO allies. Ukraine has been given a fighting chance against an autocratic dictator. Armenia and Artsakh are ancient cultures which deserve the same right to exist. The international right to protect Armenia's sovereign borders, and for Artsakh, the inalienable right to self-determination by the will of the Armenian people of Artsakh, who have been fighting for recognition for over a century. It's time, and we will not accept a double standard of justice by our own U.S. government. With the support and leadership of our esteemed elected officials here today, like our champion, Congresswoman Dina Titus, and our superstar, Congresswoman Susie Lee, supportive Senator Rosen, and courageous Councilwoman Victoria Seaman, we urge the U.S. to continue its engagement and support us through legislation and real action. Thank you.